I consume a lot of media globally, but Western media, especially from the US, has a problem. There's just too much politics, especially left wing politics. And honestly, it really irks me. I've already said this in my earlier video. I don't want stories exploring a child's sexuality. Kids are supposed to be innocent. We shouldn't be projecting adult issues onto child characters. I'm not from the US. I don't live there. Whether someone's left or right doesn't really affect me directly. But what the US does, it trickles down to the rest of the world, socially and economically. So I want to share my experience over the past 9 years of watching how US media slowly morphed into this weird, sexually obsessed blob from the perspective of someone outside of America. And how do I even know what left and right is, even if I don't live in the US? Well, that's exactly the problem, right? I don't want to know. I don't need to know. How do I know this? First, let me give you some context on what I consume. I read Korean webtoons like Solo Leveling, Surviving the Game as a Barbarian, My S-Class Hunters, and even Malaysian stuff like My Giant Nerd Boyfriend. I also read manga and watch anime from Japan, plus a few shows from China like To Be Hero X, The King's Avatar, Link Click. Games? They come from everywhere. Wukong and Genshin from China, Stellar Blade from Korea, FF14 from Japan, and yes, I also consume a ton of Western movies, TV shows, and games. Here's the difference. The US is the only one where I'm constantly aware of its politics. Like, I don't know anything about Japanese politics unless it's Shin Godzilla or the anime Babylon. But with American stuff, it's unavoidable, even more than my own country's politics. Part of this started when I worked in films. There were a lot of DEI policies that were being implemented. Fortunately, in Asia, it's still get the work done or get out. But I remember those first DEI meetings. Someone asked, so what's the timeline to train and get the Asian leads into higher roles? The answer was pure word salad. No clarity at all. Did they actually take what they were preaching seriously? I guess with what I know now, they probably saw all Asians as the same as white people, so it didn't really matter to them. And then when I wanted to join the inclusion group to maybe help expats learn more about Asian culture, I was rejected. Apparently, I was too busy.
What? What the fuck?
How is that inclusion? That's when I realized a lot of DEI implementation is just corporate BS. Back then, and I didn't know at the time, I actually watched a lot of left-leaning YouTubers too. Innuendo Studios, Shoe on Hit, Lacey Green, Chris Reagan, and I actually enjoyed their content even though there were certain points I didn't always agree with. It was still just a form of entertainment while still receiving some form of news in air quotes. And in 2016, I was actually shocked that Trump won the US elections. I couldn't believe why the US population would ever vote for a celebrity. Was there something I was missing about his appeal? And nothing crazy happened under his term. The world carried on. Oh wait. Correction, the world came to a halt with COVID. So while working in VFX at home, a lot of us discovered the critical drinker. He was huge amongst my colleagues and I because he poked fun at the obviously absurd parts of the movies we were working on, like
The Message.
And it was a great form of entertainment to distract from the very real consequences of the world around us. But there was a very clear pattern emerging. Why was DEI being shoved into the workforce, and why was the message being pushed so heavily, so quickly, and in so much media? Also, I got into S1 Gold during this period because he was posting multiple videos daily. He would always have videos that would go viral and just appear in my feed repeatedly. Even if people have negative views on him, I'm always the type of person who would want to go to the source directly. And I'm never satisfied with people telling me what to think about something or someone. I always have to check its validity. So I watched his content, and I like that he explains his perspective rationally, even if I don't always agree with it. Then came Matt Walsh with his dry humor, What is a Woman? And commentary on trans issues. It made me think, wow, is this really happening in the US? How did the US spiral from being the beacon of where everyone wants to migrate to this weird place? And if I had been born later, I probably would have fallen into this whole trans ideology because I was a tomboy who was online during my teenage years looking for belonging. That hit a bit too close. Meanwhile, a lot of leftist channels I used to follow either died out or I just stopped caring and unsubscribed. And my feed shifted. Tim Pool, Michael Knowles, Brett Cooper, Candice Owens, Tulsi Gabbard, Charlie Kirk, Nick Freitas, Vivek Ramaswamy. People would call this the alt-right pipeline. But for me, it wasn't some rabbit hole. It was just how much US politics kept bleeding into my entertainment and US politics became my entertainment. And it wasn't just movies or TV, games too. Characters got uglier, Street Fighter turned into casual outfit simulator, Square Enix designs tanked, whole channels like Endymion, Legendary Drops, Smash JT, Veradot popped up just documenting how politics is infecting games. And unlike movies, games take 5 to 8 times longer to make. So when they get politicized, it's baked in deep. Here's the irony. I didn't want to get political. Younger me would be shocked. If she saw me today, she'd say, "You actually became an adult?" And the answer is yes. But not because I watch the news, it's because US media is so infested with politics that even if I don't seek it out, I absorb it through osmosis, through entertainment, through YouTube. I know there's going to be someone who would say LGBTQ issues are not political or all media is political. I want to break down those statements and explain my standpoint. For the point of LGBTQ issues aren't political, I agree. In its purest form, the topic of sexuality is not inherently political, but it still shouldn't be in media that isn't 18 plus because it deals with sex and sexual topics. And to the LGBTQ people who are rioting against this, do you not realize that the left is just using this umbrella as a meat shield to tank all the bullets and criticism? Shouldn't you be calling it out so you won't get targeted further? For the point of all media is political. Look at the hoof GP. All its content is just showing how much pus there is in an infected cow's hoof. Is that political? If your answer is yes, just get out. You are just arguing for the sake of arguing, and no matter what I say, you will never listen. You will never be logical in your answer. It's like me saying, "I like waffles." And then you will respond, "So you hate pancakes?" We're talking about waffles. What does it have to do with pancakes? There might be people who are like, "Ew, are you a right winger?" Am I? I don't live in the US. I don't vote in the US. I'm an Asian living in Asia, where traditional values are still being upheld. If that makes me quote unquote right wing, then sure, you can use that label on me if that helps you sleep at night. I'm just telling you my experience, and if you still want to dismiss all I have to say anyways, then your mind was never open to begin with. At the end of the day, my wish for Western media is simple. Stop injecting politics into everything. I don't want to watch a show or play a game where my guard is up, wondering if they race swapped or gender flipped a character just to tick boxes. What I want are good stories and characters that stand on their own. Stuff like Top Gun Maverick, F1, Expedition 33, Black Myth Wukong, where I can just switch off my brain and get lost in the world. That's why I fell in love with media in the first place, for that rush of escapism, to fall in love with a setting and characters and gush about them with other fans. Here's the thing, if Western media won't give us that, then fine. We don't have to stick around. We have choices. Korea is pumping out incredible games and dramas. Japan is still giving us unique anime and manga every season. China is stepping up with titles like Black Myth Wukong and Link Click. Even smaller creators from different countries are putting out amazing work. Stop broadening your horizon. Stop limiting yourself to Hollywood or AAA studios because they don't guarantee quality anymore. Explore media from other countries. Support creators who focus on story and passion first, not politics. Or even if you have a LGBTQ creator that you like who actually tells authentic stories that aren't patronizing, go and support them as well. Because the truth is, we as an audience hold the power. And the more we support authentic, engaging content from around the world, the less we have to put up with all this political nonsense.